In today's lesson, we'll be learning how to solve linear systems graphically. If you look at the word linear closely, you'll notice that the word line is within linear. And the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. If you recall, m represents the slope, which is rise over run, and b represents the y-intercept, and that is where the line intersects the y-axis. Meanwhile, the word graphically contains the word graph, which means we are going to figure out the answer using graph paper. We're going to figure out the answer by hand. In our first example, we want to solve this linear system graphically, which means we're going to use graph paper and we're going to do this by hand. But before we do that, let's analyze the equation of these two lines. We're going to start with y equals negative 2x minus 5. If you recall, this negative 2 is the slope. However, we want to write it as a fraction. Therefore, negative 2 as a fraction is negative 2 over 1. If you look closely at this number, negative 5 is the y-intercept. That is where the line intercepts the y-axis. Let's take a look at the second line. Its equation is y equals 2 over 3x plus 3. We're going to use the same process. This number, 2 over 3, is the slope of the line, while positive 3 is the y-intercept. At this point, we're going to use the y-intercept and the slope to graph these two lines by hand. Let's take a look at the first line. The first line has a y-intercept of negative 5. Let's zoom in to negative 5 and let's make a dot. This slope is negative 2 over 1, which means we're going to have to go down 2 units and we have to go over 1 unit to the right. And I'm going to put my other point over there. Once you have your 2 points, you connect the dots with a ruler. I don't have a ruler with me right now, but you need to use one on paper. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to draw this line very, very carefully. And there we go. That is the equation of the line drawn in real life. We're going to do the exact same thing for the second line. The second line has a y-intercept of positive 3. So let's zoom in to that area. At positive 3, I'm going to draw a dot. Now, the slope of this line is 2 over 3. So I'm going to have to go up 2 units, and I'm going to have to go over 3 units to the right. At that point, I'm going to draw a point. And just like before, you're going to use a ruler to connect these 2 dots very carefully. I'm going to do this freehand, and we're going to find something very interesting. 2 lines intersect at a very special point. This is called the point of intersection. The short form is POI. Now, the coordinates of that point of intersection is negative 3 and positive 1. And there you have it. We've just figured out the point of intersection of these 2 lines, and we did this graphically. As you might have noticed, graphing by hand can be very inaccurate. there must be some way of checking your answer, and there is. I'm going to show you how to do that. For the first line, you're going to sub in that point of intersection, that POI, and we determined it to be -3 and 1. So instead of writing y, you're going to write 1 in brackets, and instead of writing x, you're going to write -3 in brackets. Everything else stays the same. So that just stays the same. -2 times -3 is +6, and that -5 stays the same. The 1 stays the same. 6 minus 5 is 1. So we can conclude left side is equal to the right side of the equation. Therefore, we can conclude that this point of intersection exists on this line. We're going to do the exact same process for the second line. We're going to sub the same point of intersection, -3 and 1. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write 1. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write -3, and that +3 stays the same. This one, you can take it out of the brackets. Now, a lot of students have trouble with this part. -3 is the same thing as -3 over 1. When you're multiplying fractions, all you need to do is multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. So what I have here is 2 times -3, which is -6, and 3 times 1, which is 3. Now I'm just going to have to simplify some of these numbers. That 1 stays the same. -6 divided by 3 is -2, and that +3 stays the same. -2 plus 3 is +1. And as you can see, the left side of the equation is equal to the right side of the equation. That means that this point lies on this second line. So we've just proven that this is indeed the point of intersection of these two lines.